Have you ever noticed how you act like a completely different person when you're away from home? You might feel calmer, more confident, more like yourself. Then you get home and within a few days, it's like that version of you disappears and you're just left thinking, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just stay like that? If you've ever had that, this video will make it make sense. This is one of the things people don't always say out loud, but they feel it. Away from home, you might speak more freely. You might stop overthinking every message. You might wake up and feel lighter, even if nothing in your life has technically changed. You might take up more space. You might feel brave enough to do things you keep putting off your list. And then you come back and it's like you're back in your old skin. The old habits return, the old doubts return, the old version of you returns. And because you don't have a framework for it, you usually land on one of two conclusions. Either you tell yourself the confident version of you is fake, like you were just riding the high of being away, or you tell yourself you failed again because you couldn't hold on to that good version. Neither of those are true. Here's the reframe that stops the self-blame. You're not inconsistent, you are contextual. Most people think confidence is a personality trait, like you either have it or you don't. But if confidence was a trait, you would feel it everywhere, all the time, in every room, with every person, in every scenario, every place. And you don't. None of us do. You can feel confident with one friend and unsure with another. You can feel confident at work one day and small the next. You can feel brave enough abroad and anxious at home. It doesn't mean you're fake. It means your system is responding to context, because environment is not just scenery. Environment is information. It tells your brain what's expected of you. It tells your body what's safe. It tells you, without you even realizing, how to behave. At home, you're surrounded by cues that have been training you for years. The same streets, the same rooms, the same routines, the same people who know you as the version you've always been. The same pace, the same pressures, the same responsibilities, the same roles you step into automatically. Friend, daughter, partner, the reliable one, the one who keeps it all together, the one who says yes, the one who overthinks. Even if nobody is consciously asking you to be that person, your brain has learned, this is who I am here. So you don't choose who you are at home. You default to who you've practiced being there. That's why you can do loads of inner work, have loads of insight, feel really motivated, then walk back into your usual life and suddenly you're doing the same things again, because the environment is cueing the old version of you. It's not because you're weak, it's not because you're lacking discipline, it's because the cues are really strong. Now, when you go somewhere new, a few things happen. Those cues loosen, the routine breaks, the social expectations change. People don't know you as the old you, which means you're not unconsciously performing that identity. Even simple things shift. The pace is different, the sensory input is different, the way you move through the day is different. And in that space, a version of you emerges that feels more natural. You might realize, I'm actually quite decisive when I'm not surrounded by 10,000 things that pull me in different directions. Or I'm actually calmer when my day has fewer demands. Or I don't second guess myself as much when I'm not in the same old environment that reminds me of old stories. See, this is why travel can feel so emotional in a good way. It's not just a holiday, it's a change in input. And when the input changes, your response changes. So you meet a version of yourself that was always there but wasn't being invited out. That's why it can feel like this is the real me. And I think often it is. Now let's talk about the part that messes with people. You come home and you expect to keep that feeling. You think, right, I've cracked it, I feel better, I'm clearer, I've got all this motivation, I feel more confident, I'm going to take that back with me, I'm going to do all of these things. And then slowly, or sometimes quickly, it fades. And this is where people start to beat themselves up. They say, I've gone backwards, I've lost it, back to square one, but you're not. What's happened is you've returned to the cues, the same places that trigger the same pace, the same people that pull you in the same dynamic, the same routines that run your day before you even get a chance to think properly. Your brain goes, we're back here, I know this version, this is who we are, it doesn't mean that the growth wasn't real. It means it wasn't protected. And this is why for a lot of people, travel becomes a cycle. They feel brilliant away. They come back and they feel flat. They start craving the next trip because they think the trip is the answer. And while traveling is amazing, it really is, the trip actually isn't the answer. Trip actually reveals something, and the real work is what happens next. So instead of asking what's wrong with me, why am I like this, why haven't I got the motivation when I'm back, here's a better question. Start asking, what environments bring the best out of me? Where do I feel calm? Where do I stop overthinking? Where do I make clearer decisions? Where do I feel like myself? And the second question is just as important. What environments pull me into the version of me I'm trying to grow out of? Because this is not about never going home or living on a beach or running away. This is about using what you learn when you're away to make the small changes that support you when you're back home. Sometimes that means changing your routine. Sometimes it means changing who you spend time with. Sometimes it means giving yourself different inputs, more space, more quiet, more movement, a different place to work from once a week. Small environment shifts can create big internal shifts when you do them consistently. So if you ever felt like a different person when you're away, here's what I want you to take from it. That version of you isn't fake, and the version of you at home isn't broken. They're both responses to context. So when you stop shaming yourself and start noticing what shapes you, you get your power back. Because then you can design your life in a way that supports the person you're becoming. Not by forcing confidence, but by changing what you're practicing every day and what your environment is constantly cueing. If this hit home, stay with me. This is what I explore on this channel. Confidence, travel, and how environment shifts change how we think, feel, and act.